heartbroken all over again. Now, of course, this is something that he is never going to admit publicly, especially as his marriage to Meghan Markle crumbles. But former close friends of the Duke have told me that Chelsy Davy's decision to have a third child has really emotionally hit home. Now, she shared these beautiful images, and my God, I'm so happy for Chelsy Davy. Like, this is all she wanted. And I think it's delightful that she's comfortable to share the images on Instagram and now does finally feel like she can have a bit of a public profile. But why this has really hit home to Harry is that he had always discussed with Chelsy Davy having a large family. And of course, as soon as he ended up with Meghan Markle, who, yes, was older, and that is understandable that when you are older, the biological clock is ticking, that they decided, and it was apparently a mutual decision, but one that always surprised Harry's close friends, to have just 2 children, which went in total contrast to the big family that Harry had always discussed having, and that Chelsy Davy, who is now very happily married, and there is no suggestion, by the way, that she pines in any way for her life with Harry. I mean, she's totally happy now. But for him, given this marriage, as Tom Bower has been revealing, and betrayal, as I have been revealing for many months, is in such deep trouble. Of course, when you look at the one who got away, and she's living the life that you hope to live one day, in Mystique no less, with a lovely man who treats her very well, of course, that is going to hurt. Now, Angela Levin is Prince Harry's biographer and our royal mastermind. She spent a long time with Harry, writing the authoritative biography just in his final days of meeting Meghan. Angela, look, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Because something definitely changed for Harry. He went from wanting this big family to all of a sudden saying, oh, no, it would be so irresponsible to have any more than 2 children because of climate change. You know, it was such a weird thing, wasn't it? Like, when you're thinking about your family, why on earth are you going into the climate change debate? And of course, here's Chelsy Davy living the life that her and Harry had long discussed, which was a big family outside of the United Kingdom.
Well, there's 2 things here. One is that if you've got 2 children of your own, you are usually very, very pleased. And if someone's got 3 and you've got 2, it's not a place to feel really hard done by, because actually having 2 children is wonderful if you have them. But the second one is what I know from when I was doing his biography is that she went to university, right? And he was cross because it was quite a long way. So he started having affairs with all sorts of other girls. And she got very upset. And he didn't go and see her for a long time. So she went off and left him. Now, that's his fault. 100% his fault. You can't expect that the delightful woman like that, or any woman who's got any sort of sense of herself, that would be fine. That doesn't matter. Let her boyfriend go and have a lot of fun and then come and see me when you feel like it. She kept inviting him, but he was saying they weren't the right sort of guys for him. Well, that might be right. That's university. You don't always have the right friends, but it's his fault. I think he might look back on his life about his fault for a long time. But this is a nonsense, isn't it? He's pretending it's poor me again. It's not a poor me. It was a poor her if it was poor anything.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I'm absolutely with you on that, Angela. But I guess it shows you that things aren't good, are they? Because if you're in a happy relationship, you never look back at your exes at all. And look, he's not looking back, in fairness, at Cressida Bonus.
You can do a bit. You can do a bit, but not a lot. I think you can look back and think, if I was older, I would have behaved better, or, things like that. So we'll give him that little bit. But, you're right otherwise.
Yeah, it's interesting. Do you think Chelsy Davy was the love of his life?
Yeah, he loved her a lot. And she really loved him. And they had great fun together. And he liked it because she wasn't worried about the royal family. That wasn't a big deal for her. She just fitted in very easily. And she was fun and a very nice girl, not demanding, not phenomenally rich, where she would want all sorts of diamonds and earrings and necklaces. You know, she was just a very, very nice girl with a very nice family. And he loved the openness with all the animals in Africa, and all that was very pleasing for him. And she was fun. She was good fun.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. I mean, my sense, I covered their relationship very closely actually in my former life in newspapers, and it was very off and on. You know, like one week they'd split up, the next week they'd be together, but there was always a real passion there, and it felt like a very equal relationship emotionally as well. But I do agree with you, it was Harry who mucked it up, and I think we just all look at Chelsea today and think she made the right decision. Because you
Yeah.
look at Harry, totally miserable, totally allowing his negative past to take over him, all of these court battles, and just a great sense of sadness, actually, and anger connected to him. And you compare that to those pictures of Chelsy Davy, and she is living the dream.
Yeah.
She is truly living the dream. And I think she does deserve that. Now, Angela, I knew it was going to happen, but of course, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's new PR team are fighting back with propaganda. This is as a result of the publication of, well, the forthcoming publication of Tom Bower's book Betrayal, which of course has been serialized in the Times newspaper over the past week. Disappointed with Richard Palmer. He was a member of the Royal Rota for a long time and was the Daily Express's royal editor. He was made redundant from there, and that was a real shame. But the fact that he's now writing for the newspaper and totally swallowing the Sussex Kool-Aid without any question is a disappointment to me, Angela. I'm not going to lie. So this is what he posted on X, and I just thought, are you kidding me? Like, do you really believe this? Harry and Meghan are working on 5 projects with Netflix and others with rival streamers and TV channels. There's no doubt they've suffered some setbacks, understatement of the year, but 6 years after their freedom fight, they do seem to be making it work for themselves. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Richard, have you followed anything? They've just been dumped now by Netflix in terms of the deal with As Ever. So this to me was pure propaganda, clearly being linked by the Sussex squad directly to him. And I just want to take you through, Angela, some of the key parts of the piece so that you can respond. And so he wrote, Harry and Meghan were banned from being part-time royals. They're doing it anyway. And the source said they have plenty of money. Now, that is, of course, a direct hit back at Tom Bower, who says in Betrayal that the money is running out. And this source described how they have overcome the end of their 5-year deal with Netflix, reported to be worth $100 million. It has been replaced by a deal giving Netflix first refusal on their television projects, echoing the streaming giant's general approach to TV production companies these days. That's just the way Netflix has gone. It isn't really doing those kind of deals any longer, the same source said. The couple are currently working on 5 different projects with Netflix, as well as a list of other programs with rival streamers and television channels. Some of them are first draft, some of them are with lawyers, some of them are contract secured, the source said. Earlier this week, it emerged they sold Cookie Queens, a documentary about the Girl Scouts that premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, to Roadside Attractions, a film distribution company whose credits have included movies such as Manchester by the Sea and Super Size Me. Charity work is Harry's primary focus, he writes, and his remaining charity patronages the Invictus Games Foundation, African Parks, Well Child, Scottish Little Soldiers for Bereaved Military Children, and his effort to make tourism more environmentally sustainable via his organisation Travelist. This was the line that I just couldn't believe. Last week, Harry spent 3 hours with an aide going through all the patronages and what he needed to do to support them. Whoop-de-doo! I mean, literally, they're trumpeting the fact that Harry has worked for 3 hours. What else is he doing? His and Meghan's charitable arm, now known as Archewell Philanthropies, is undergoing a reset after a reorganisation in December that resulted in staff redundancies and a more streamlined organisation, but also a promise to expand their global philanthropic endeavours. Now, this was such a disappointing piece of propaganda to me, Angela Levin, because it might as well have just been a press release, right? It's like, oh yeah, Sunshine Sacks, what do you want me to write? Because Richard Palmer and the I newspaper did absolutely no critical thinking. Everything that was said in that piece was pretty much a total distortion, apart from the fact that Harry worked a whopping 3 hours on his charities. I mean, if you divide that, Angela, by the number of patronages he still has, and I know it's a shrinking number, he spent half an hour on each of them. Big bloody deal. That's not going to save them.
Do you remember that they said some time ago that they would only spend 1 hour a week on doing their work for charity? So, to do it for 3 or 4 hours, it's a really very difficult and demanding thing. But, it's if you like something, if you want to help people, then you'd be pleased to do that, you see. He doesn't know what he wants to do, and it makes him unhappy, whatever he's doing. Nothing can actually get through to him to be happy now. He just feels it. It's everything's wrong. And whatever the king does for him and doesn't do, I mean, it's just pointless, because he's got William, and what William ever does and doesn't do, and then he complies with Catherine. It's, he just can't find something good, and that means he needs help, but he doesn't seem to have it, or the people who help him don't actually work properly, or he's choosing the wrong ones. I think that's it. When he gets to a stage where he is, he needs help, because we're all in difficulties at times, and we have to try and get over it. And well, he does just have a problem about loving his mother still, which is very, very nice, but it's not the right way of moving forward and helping yourself.
Well, Angela, given you've raised Diana, Princess Diana, I did want to ask you about this quite surprising revelation from Richard Kay. I think it really has been taken out of context, if I'm totally honest, and been pushed by Harry's allies, right? So look at this from People magazine, which is always pro Harry and Meghan. This is how they headlined it. Princess Diana was preparing Prince Harry to be king, believing shy Prince William didn't want the top job, a friend says. Richard Kay, a journalist and friend of Diana's, said the late Princess of Wales would call her younger son Good King Harry. Now, this was taken from an interview that Richard Kay did on the Daily Mail's Palace Confidential show. This is the key part of it, Angela. Angela, this was very odd to me. Again, it feels like pro-Prince Harry propaganda, because Diana herself constantly spoke about the fact that she was preparing Harry to be a loyal supporter of William, because she thought William needed support as king, not that she wanted Harry to be king.
It's sort of taken out something from a big spot, sort of stew, and it just has a whole different meaning. I know, because I was told that she was very, very worried about Harry as a boy, because he was very naughty and he was very angry with the world even then, and she felt that she had to really help him and make him feel better, and it was nothing to do with becoming king or not.
Chelsy Davy has moved on with her life. The source material describes her as happily married and celebrating the arrival of her third child. Images shared publicly prompted an emotional response from the commentators discussing her story, who portrayed her as someone who has achieved the family life she wanted. And that is what makes the story so interesting. The discussion isn't really about Chelsy trying to reconnect with Harry. Quite the opposite. The source explicitly acknowledges that there is no suggestion that Chelsy is pining for her former boyfriend. Instead, The speculation centers on Harry and whether Chelsy's new chapter could cause him to think about his own past. According to the commentary in the supplied material, Harry and Chelsy had previously discussed having a large family. That claim is used to explain why Chelsy's third child might have particular significance when viewed through the lens of Harry's past. The argument is essentially this: Harry once imagined one kind of future. Chelsy is now living a version of the family life that commentators say they once discussed. And that contrast provides the basis for speculation about whether Harry might look back and wonder what could have happened. But again, we cannot know what Harry privately thinks unless he tells us. That is an important distinction throughout this story. The source material also revisits Harry and Meghan's decision to have 2 children. One commentator contrasts that decision with the claim that Harry had previously talked about wanting a larger family. The discussion also references Harry's earlier public comments concerning climate change and family size. That created an interesting contrast in the commentary. On one side was the idea of limiting family size for environmental reasons. On the other was the picture of Chelsy building the larger family that commentators claim Harry once imagined. But whether Harry actually regrets having 2 children is something the available material does not establish. That remains an interpretation. To understand why this story attracts so much attention, we need to go back to Harry and Chelsy's relationship. According to the source material, their romance was complicated and repeatedly on and off. One commentator who says they covered the relationship closely describes it as passionate and emotionally significant. The relationship apparently had its highs and lows, with the couple repeatedly separating and reconnecting. That history makes it easy to understand why people continue to be fascinated by what might have happened if their relationship had lasted. But fascination is not evidence that Harry currently wants Chelsy back. One of the strongest claims in the supplied material comes from Angela Levin. She says that while Chelsy was attending university, Harry became involved with other women and that this contributed to the relationship ending. Her assessment is blunt. She argues that Harry was responsible for the breakdown of that relationship and should not portray himself as the victim of what happened. This is a claim attributed to Levin's account of her biographical research and should be presented as her characterization, rather than as an independently verified account of every detail of Harry and Chelsy's relationship. So, has Prince Harry really been left heartbroken by Chelsy Davy's latest family milestone? The answer is something we cannot know for certain. The commentators clearly believe that Chelsy's happy family life provides an opportunity to revisit Harry's past and the choices he made in his own relationships. But claims about Harry's private emotions remain claims. And the suggestion that his marriage to Meghan Markle is crumbling should likewise be treated as commentary unless independently confirmed. What we can say is that Harry and Chelsy's relationship remains fascinating to royal watchers because it represents a very different chapter of his life. Chelsy has moved forward. Harry has moved forward. And whatever people may speculate about the road not taken, only Harry knows what he truly feels about that part of his past. Now I'd like to hear from you. Do you think Harry and Chelsy's relationship was genuinely the one that got away, or is the media simply romanticizing an old relationship because Chelsy has now built such a different life? And what do you make of the claims about Harry and Meghan's marriage? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more commentary on Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Chelsy Davy, King.